Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers really starting to sink their teeth into this 2024 class, landing commitment from five-star linebacker Demarcus Riddick, who is a Georgia Bulldog longtime commit. And then Alabama comes in, Auburn comes in, and Auburn's able to win this battle for one of the premier defensive prospects in this 2024 class, Demarcus Riddick, five-star according to the 24/7 Sports Composite. And digging into the film earlier this morning, he might be one of my favorite prospects in this 2024 class. As I cough a little bit, he's a guy that when you turn on the film, and we'll turn on the film in just a second, lines up on edge and rushes the passer from that five technique, lines up as an off-ball linebacker, goes sideline to sideline, is phenomenal playing in space. You even see him getting reps at wide receiver. He returns punts. He brought 2 punt returns back for touchdowns in that 2022 season as a junior. And you even see him play deep free safety. We talk a lot about the modern college football linebacker in the roles and kind of how it's changed over the last couple of years, right? What you want in a college football linebacker is a guy that can play in space, cover tight ends up the seam, tackle running backs in the flat in space. Demarcus Riddick is that guy. And don't get me wrong, he can bang between the tackles as well, stack and shed blocks, extremely physical as a tackler. You look at the high school production as a junior, 109 tackles, 17 of those for a loss. He also added 3 interceptions and 3 punt returns for a touchdown. This is a dude that's been extremely productive at the high school level. And for the Auburn Tigers, you're getting one of the elite athletes in this 2024 class that whether he is an edge rusher coming off the line of scrimmage or whether he's playing off-ball linebacker, he is going to be an absolute stud for this Auburn Tigers defense. And most importantly, an extremely versatile guy that, again, on the film can do so many different things. Now, before we dive into the film of Demarcus Riddick, I just want to say thank you to you guys, and especially the Auburn Tiger fans. Like, we have taken deep dives into this team heading into 2023. We've recapped the report. We've talked a ton of Auburn football. It's no secret that the fellas are extremely high on this program heading into 2023 under Hugh Freeze, and the support you guys have shown truly does mean a lot. So if you do enjoy the updates, you enjoy the content, you want to support the fellas, consider subscribing to the channel. This is a team that we'll be talking a lot about during this 2023 season. So appreciate you guys for rocking with the fellas. And let's get into Demarcus Riddick. And I think the best thing to do is just turn on the film and let you guys see for yourself what I saw this morning. And that is just a special, special athlete. I mean, you're seeing him come off the edge here. You see him have the opportunity to make a tackle in space, and he absolutely does it. You're getting a guy, and that's one of the most important things. And now you're going to see his movement skills, the raw athleticism as a punt returner too. I mean, he looks like a wide receiver running that football. And then you look at the height and weight. He's 6'2", 215 pounds. The size, the athleticism, the speed, the movement skills are all special. But what I want to focus on is on that defensive reps, his ability to operate in space. And you're seeing him snuff out a screen right here. Ball skills off the charts, picks it off, and then you saw the punt return. Like, this dude is taking that back for a touchdown. His ability to operate in space on the defensive side of the ball is what separates him. Again, you're going to see another special team. This dude could play running back, I think, if he wanted to, but I think he'll be an all SEC caliber linebacker in terms of the athletic profile that he brings. I want to focus on the space, though, and how well this dude operates in space. He checks off all those boxes that you want in a linebacker. You see him playing a little bit more off the ball here, going sideline to sideline, working through traffic, and then going and making a play. I mean, you go back and watch that play, you'll see the free safety. Like, I mean, he plays free safety too, and you see the ball skills. So when you're talking about linebackers transitioning to the college level and being able to cover, Demarcus Riddick certainly has that. But I want to go back to that play where he does stretch out that play. Having a linebacker that can do that and turn that play into, instead of an 8-yard gain, he's turning it into only a 2-yard gain because he can go sideline to sideline like he can. That is such an elite thing to have on the defensive side of the ball. And Demarcus Riddick certainly brings that. And as I cough more, in the hotel, got some, I think they had a dog in here. I'm allergic to dogs, so I'm battling through here. But I mean, getting back to Demarcus Riddick and not my allergies, is that he is a guy that I think the versatility that he's going to bring to this defense is truly special. And his ability to pick through traffic, blitz off the edge, play in space, he checks so many boxes that you want in a modern day linebacker. I am extremely excited for what Auburn does with him on the defensive side of the ball. And more importantly, I want to take a dive into this Auburn 2024 class because we've had some changes, right? You've had Walker White committed for a while. That was a massive, massive get for Hugh Freeze. But you take a look at the defensive side of the ball, and I promise Auburn fans, the offensive talent's going to come. Like missing out on Cam Coleman, that stings, and I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn hangs around in that recruitment. And we'll talk about the potential spatula flip season in a second. But on the defensive side of the ball, like I love what they're doing. Going up and getting Joseph Phillips, who's 6'2", 250. We recapped him, an absolute thumper. Jalen Crawford, one of the best cornerbacks in the class. And then going back to one of my sleeper guys that we talked about, Malik Blockton, 6'4", 275, had 30-plus tackles for a loss his junior year. You're seeing the defense and the caliber of player on the defensive side of the ball really kind of go through the roof. And that's like the defense is going to be solid. And I think a lot of Auburn fans are talking about, let's get that offensive playmaking into the fold. And for what I'll say is I think that'll come. And I think it'll come after that 2023 season when these high school recruits see the proof of concept. Hugh Freeze, and this is something we've talked about, and you follow his collegiate coaching at Ole Miss. I mean, made some quarterbacks who were not very good look like NFL quarterbacks. And then he goes to Liberty. He coaches Malik Willis. Malik Willis, and on Auburn fans who've listened for a while, you've heard this story. Malik Willis, people thought he was going to be a top 10 overall pick at Liberty. And then he goes to the NFL, and not to knock Malik Willis, but it turns out he's not very good. What is the story there? The story is Hugh Freeze made Malik Willis look like a phenomenal quarterback. Hugh Freeze is an offensive mastermind. And so when you have that 2023 season and this Auburn offense takes meaningful strides from what it was during that Brian Harsin era, which was, for lack of better terms, just a dumpster fire on the offensive side of the ball, you're going to have some of these kids in high school take a look at that Auburn offense and say, that's an offense I want to go play for. And so getting back to the class, this is a class that it's gotten off to a slow start, and we talked about it. Hugh Freeze hammered the transfer portal. He didn't really sink his teeth into this 2024 class until the summer, and now he's starting to build it. And one thing that I feel like is not being talked about enough in the landscape of recruiting is how early these commitments are happening this year. Like we haven't seen all these guys come off the board this early in the summer ever. And so what does that say? Come December, when it's time to sign on the dotted line and enroll in school in January, a lot of these guys, like the college football landscape is going to be shaken up. Coaches are going to move. Coaches are going to get hired. Coaches are going to get fired. Auburn fans know about the coaching carousel plenty well. What does that mean? If I'm Hugh Freeze and I put together an 8-5, an 8-4 season, whatever it might be, I'm getting my spatula out and I'm starting to sell guys on where this Auburn Tigers program is going. And so this class, although it's still a very solid class, I think it can be a phenomenal class once it gets later on in this cycle. And now, one thing I want to kind of emphasize before we wrap up here, you take a look at this Auburn class. They got 12 commits. They just add 5-star Demarcus Riddick, who is going to be that 5-star. You have 9 4-stars in the bowl, only 2 3-stars. You take a look at this average player ranking of a 90.8 or 90.83, and then you take a look at some of the teams in the top 10. I mean, that's a higher player average than teams like Michigan, than like Penn State. It's on par with a lot of these programs that have top 10 classes. The only reason Auburn is so low in the recruiting rankings is because they don't have that many commits. And so Auburn starts stringing some wins together in this 2023 season. It gets closer to National Signing Day. Hugh Freeze shows that this Auburn program is going in the right direction. That's going to be really fun for Auburn fans in this recruiting class in general, and as they close out this 2024 class, because it's going to keep moving up. They're recruiting at an elite level. They just don't have that many verbal commitments in the boat right now. But once they get to that 20 number, I think Auburn fans are going to be looking at potentially a top 12, potentially a top 10 class. And you take that into account with what Hugh Freeze just did in the transfer portal, I think this Auburn program is getting right back on track. And that's personally why the boys are so high on this Auburn program heading into 2023 and then just under the Hugh Freeze era in the next couple of years. So again, appreciate you guys rocking with the boys. And if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Can't thank you guys, the Auburn fans, enough for rocking with us the way that you guys have. And we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.